It's almost time, folks. Yeah, you're probably wondering, you're doing an analysis on what exactly? Well, there have been some things I've been thinking about ever since, well, I mean, like I was, you probably couldn't see it, but I made like a hand gesture. Mm. Okay. By the way, I recommend watching Sal. I think we're good. Um, Also, ugh, Pyrome Gaming is awesome. But you're probably wondering, so you're doing an analysis on this? Yeah. So that screenshot right there is from the next gen version of GTA 5. Now I know it's actually, current gen now, but let's face it, I'm probably just going to keep calling these consoles next gen, not because they're hard to get. It's because this kind of technology, it, I want you to realize something, alright? I've been alive for 25 years. By the time the PS5 came out, I was 23, right? And if little kid me would have seen a console like that at my age, it would have blown my mind. Like ray tracing, SSDs. SSDs weren't even a thing when I was little. Or ray tracing, or anything like that for that matter. Blu-ray was a thing whenever I was little, but it was at the time burgeoning, but now it's like widespread, right? But anyway, so you're probably thinking, so what's the catch? Well, what are we going to be doing? I have with me right now my DualSense. Reason being is because it's not just going to be GTA 5 that I'm going to be talking about. There's been a lot of rumor, a lot of hearsay about a possible PlayStation event this week. Could be a state of play, but it also has a big likelihood of being a showcase. You're probably thinking, well, how do you know? Insiders, analysts, lots and lots of reports coming up. And while a state of play does seem kind of likely, I think it's going to be a showcase. Let me explain. The last time we had a state of play was last month. And that was to show off GT7, which recently came out. Very good game, by the way. I don't have it, but yeah. Also, I'm going to turn on my fan so I don't cook. 1 second. Sit. Good controller. Oh, right. So to prepare for the next gen version of GTA 5 and whatever else we have in the future, I got one of these. Yeah, it's about damn time. So I just tossed the box and it bounced off my Oculus. Anyway, so I have a funny story about that SSD. Now, don't worry, it works just perfectly fine. it's more about what happened whenever I got it out of the box and got my PS5 unhooked and everything. So, as you may know, if you happen to be an owner of a PS5, whether it be the digital or standard edition like mine, I say standard edition like it's a video game, not a console. Like the disc version, the one that has the disc drive. Essentially, what you're supposed to do in order to put in an SSD is first have the console unhooked. Then, detach the base that you have on the bottom, which holds up the console either vertically or horizontally. And then after that, what you want to do is, and to put this into context, you'll want to be looking at the console from the viewpoint that you're looking at the side where the disk drive would be. Or if you have the digital edition and you're looking at it from the front, it would be the faceplate to your right. But what you do is you wedge this part of your hand underneath the top right part of the panel, the faceplate, whatever you want to call it. And then simultaneously, you'll want to have your other hand holding on to the bottom of the plate. So then you lift up a little bit and then you pull down at the same time and push. It won't damage the plate. It's easily replaceable. Or, easily removable, and then you can put it back. But after you remove that plate, you'll look at the middle part of the console, but you'll also see this metal panel thing that you can unscrew, which there's a screw there, and you get a Phillips head, you unscrew that, and then there's these two little crevices that you can put something into and then pry off the metal flap. Don't worry, you can easily put it back on. It won't damage the console. But whenever you lift that up and take off the metal plate thing, that's where the SSD slot is for an additional SSD. And inside you'll also see a little screw. That screw, believe it or not, is basically necessary to keep the SSD in place and make sure it doesn't jostle around. Problem is, it strips very easily. As in, whenever I was putting in the SSD, and I want you to know that I first tried one of my smaller screwdrivers. Like something that could actually do it. It did nothing. The screw wouldn't budge. Like, the big screw that was for the metal thing, that, unscrewed and screwed back on just fine. It was that little screw that I literally could not get off. I read online seeing how people did it. Nothing. So then, after a while of brainstorming, I eventually came to the conclusion that, well, if I can't not pry it off. If I can't remove the screw, I'm just going to have to leave the SSD how it is, because I don't have any additional screws at all. Come to find out, that's all I needed to do, because whenever I turn on the PS5 after, getting everything reassembled and hooked back up, whenever you put one of those in for the first time, the console will ask you if you would like to format it, even though you've never used it before, but it is necessary. Just in case there may be something on there, but there isn't, because that was literally a brand new SSD. And to make a long story short, it works as intended. I haven't put any games on the SSD yet, but there will come a time whenever that is necessary. Because just the console by itself, without an additional SSD, its storage is a little lacking. As in, I literally have like 226 gigabytes, I think, left. Yeah. Bear in mind, even though the box on like, the box for the PS5 says 825 gigs. About a fourth of that usable storage is used for, like the actual UI and everything for the console, like the operating system and whatnot. So you end up having 667 gigs whenever you first get the PS5. But the one thing I really like about the PS5 over the Xbox Series X, which, mind you, I don't have a Series X or an S. There will come a day whenever I do get one. I don't know when, but I will. For the Xbox Series X and S, they have their own dedicated memory card slot. God, I feel old saying that. Because memory cards back whenever I was a kid, that was like the only way you could save games. And then whenever the newer consoles like the Wii, the PS3, and the 360 came out, which I'm also going to include the original Xbox as well, because that was the first console to have a built-in hard drive. But basically, when those consoles came out, and again, I'm also including the original Xbox as well, because it was the console that basically pioneered that kind of technology of having a hard drive built into the system. And, all that. But it was huge to see that, these new consoles have built-in hard drives. And the PS3 was the pioneer of Blu-ray media in the form of video games, because whenever the 7th gen console generation came out, that was the only console to use that kind of tech. 8th generation came around. Wii U adopted it. PS4 continued the trend of Sony doing that. After all, Blu-ray was made by Sony. And then Xbox did it as well. And now look where we are, the 9th generation of consoles. Ray tracing, SSD technology, got advanced cooling systems. Technology has come a long way, my friends. But now to actually get into the meat of what I was going to talk about, which is this. So this first image is... So, here's the thing. I watched a video from Dat Sainspan, otherwise just now known as Sainspan, and he proposed this really admittedly dumb theory that, you could see the Diamond Casino over there, maybe it's in story mode. No. And let me explain. So, chronologically, the Diamond Casino and Resort was opened in GTA Online back in 2019. A whole 6 years after the events of GTA 5. Or about 6 years. During the story missions, you hear Tao Chang mention that he was almost killed at the Pacific Bluffs, which is, of course, in reference to the canonical final mission of GTA 5, Death Wish, where Michael, Trevor, and Franklin work together to take down their respective adversaries in more ways than one. And because of that, Tao Chang survives Franklin attacking Wei Chang and his triads. Now, technically you can kill Tao Chang in that mission, but it's not canonical. Which makes sense, because otherwise that would make Tao Chang's appearance in the DLC null and void. So, obviously, this is actually, believe it or not, a picture, like a screenshot that a developer took of the new version of the game. And I'll get into something in a bit about the whole graphics thing, because some people looking through the pictures were like, I don't see any ray tracing. Which, yes, it is confirmed that this will have ray tracing. But here's where it gets interesting. Some people looking at the pictures were like, where's the ray tracing? When we actually analyze this further and further, I will explain my own personal theory as to why you don't see the ray tracing. So, to start things off, you can see a major increase in vegetation. You can see the Los Santos Skyline, and if you look very closely, you can still see the blurry textures from here, which leads me to believe that this picture is from a non-finalized build of the game. Because usually when a game is a finalized build, it ends up looking better than, its work in progress state. Take notes, Ubisoft! You and your, we're gonna make the game look prettier than it actually does when it releases. Yes, I know about it. Especially the original Watch Dogs. But anyway, so you're probably thinking, so if a developer took this screenshot, where are all the cars and stuff? Please note, I said developer, and this is clearly in GTA Online. What they did was they had a specialized lobby, and they customized the settings to where there's no traffic, there's no pedestrians, nothing like that. All it is just a scenic view. But as we go further, so here it says that it's coming out next Tuesday, which is awesome, because I'll talk about the leaked pricing in a moment, because it's a pleasant surprise. A surprise, but it's a welcome one to be sure. And I should also mention that they have mentioned a standalone GTA Online. That does not mean that story mode does not include online. There's two different releases coming from Rockstar. There's GTA Online, which is the standalone they talked about, and there's GTA 5, which is the standard one which comes with GTA Online, which is the one I'm getting. But here's our first sign of people being confused. These new versions of GTA 5 and GTA Online introduce high-end PC visual. A lot of people were like, so what, is this a port of GTA 5 PC? No. Because here's the thing. The PC version of the game, unless modded, does not have ray tracing, does not have HDR, does not have, like 3D audio and stuff like that. What they're talking about when they say high-end PC visuals is they're talking about the general, the general idea of what a high-end gaming PC would be, one of those RTX graphics cards with ray tracing, so that'd be the ray tracing in the visuals. The 60 FPS is partially because of the consoles being so powerful. I mean, for crying out loud, you got 10 teraflops, 12 teraflops, which was not ever a thing with the PS3, 360, PS4, Xbox One version of the game. HDR, that wasn't even a thing for GTA 5 on the previous gen or the gen before that, because HDR wasn't a thing in the 7th gen. 8th gen, it was only on the newer versions of the 8th gen consoles, like, there was an update for the original PS4, and there was also the slim model of the PS4 that had HDR as standard. PS4 Pro had that, and of course 4K. It also, jokingly enough, looks like a 3-layer cake. But basically what I'm saying is, when Rockstar says high-end visuals, they're not saying that it's a port of the PC version. I thought that as well, but then I thought about it more, and recently I came to the conclusion that they're not talking about it being a port. They're talking about it being comparable to a high-end PC that you would see nowadays, with like high-end parts, like a RTX card, variable graphics mode, stuff like that. But anyway, so then we have this screenshot. First thing I noticed, the clothing looks way more detailed. Another thing I noticed, the dust on the ground. Like, you'll see, this is either a visual effect made by Rockstar to give it a bit more visual flair, or it could be an additional effect in the game that was not previously seen before. Another thing I noticed, and you might not be able to tell right away, is that if you look very closely on Trevor's hair, it actually looks a lot more realistic. And I know that sounds a bit weird. Please note, I don't have a hair fetish. It was one of the things that caught me off guard, is seeing Trevor's hair. And if you look very closely, it actually does look like real hair to some degree. Like, it's a lot more ruffled. Because in the previous gen versions of the game, I'll pull up an image of Trevor Phillips. So, this is what I mean. His hair looks like this, but in the actual screenshot, it's more detailed. Same with Michael and Trevor's, although, no, Franklin, that's Trevor. Trying to look for anything else. Now this is another thing. So, this is in fact a screenshot from the next gen version of the game. Because I want you to realize something. This lighting effect right here, where the light's actually being reflected onto the road, believe it or not, I am somewhat able to tell which modes were in effect, like the graphics modes were in effect when these screenshots were taken. This seems to be fidelity mode, where the graphics are like ray tracing and stuff. That, or it could be performance RT, which is something that most next-gen games such as Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart have, where ray tracing is there, but it's not as noticeable. But it also helps because performance mode gets its name because it's focusing on higher frame rates and not so much on visual flair. So things like ray tracing and stuff are turned off, meaning that you have a much more stable frame rate. Performance RT has limited versions of these visual effects, thereby still allowing you to have 60 FPS while still having a great sense of visual detail. As it says here. Yeah, so we have fidelity mode, performance RT. Yeah, so and exclusively on PS5 we have DualSense stuff like adaptive triggers, which I love. I'm so glad they're doing that, because that adds an extra bit of immersion to the game. Because, okay, so pretend you're fighting cops in the game, and you're using like a submachine gun, what'll happen is you'll have the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback working in sync. So like it'll be like and the adaptive triggers like like you'll feel it like against your finger, and it feels really good. And of course they'll have, dynamic resistance. So take take for example Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Each weapon in that game has their own unique dynamic thing with the adaptive triggers. For example, your burst pistol, if you hold the trigger halfway, it's like pew 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 pew. You shoot just one shot. If you hold it down all the way, it releases a flurry of bullets. So it's like and it gets even better whenever you get the blast pistol, which it'll retain that single shot thing if you hold the trigger down halfway. But if you hold it down all the way, you'll fire 3 shots at once, but it's at the same sacrifice of 1 shot. Like 1 bullet. Which is really cool. Now this right here, yeah, this seems to be ray tracing. And this is actually one of the newer cars coming out with GTA Online for next gen. And according to Saints Fan, and I think someone else might have pointed it out, at first glance you might think, oh, well, it's just a really cool looking livery. Also, I just now noticed this says how special works. I never noticed that. That is cool. But if you look closely at the paint, ignore the livery and look very closely at the actual paint job. So, in the game's files, I think someone found it on PC, which means that PC will get the same features as the next-gen consoles. Maybe even ray tracing? I don't know. Maybe that'll be further on down the line. Who knows? But this paint job is what's called a Chameleon Paint Job, where it'll have a unique visual effect. So, for example, this one, I'm just going to nickname it Predator because it looks like what the Predator sees through his visor in the Predator movies. But this is based on the GR86, I think. Then we have this. Okay, so first things first. It's going to be something weird, but the thing I noticed with this is that the tires are a lot more shiny, because typically you only see shiny tires on cars in the game if they've been wet by the rain or if your car is driven through water. Other than that, vehicle tires usually aren't that shiny. And it does look like the characters in this version of the game have a higher poly count. I'm trying to look for anything else. I can't really tell. Now this. Someone had pointed out, hey, well, where's the ray tracing? Like I said a while ago, it's important to note that these screenshots may have been taken while the developer taking the screenshots was using different graphics modes to show off different things. This right here is in fact a new explosion effect, because it looks way more detailed than, the previous gen versions. But you'll notice the lack of ray tracing. This leads me to believe that this screenshot was taken while the developer was in performance mode, which again removes ray tracing. And when you consider the fact that this has tuners vehicles, it kind of makes sense because, tuner cars are about going fast. Just like performance mode with the 60 FPS. So, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of all I have to say, except for the fact that it isn't. So I'm going to pull up something else, and it is no, it's not PlayStation London Studio, although I did check their website this morning, and I'll show you what's new. This is new. That's nothing to do with GTA 5. Right. So, you're probably wondering, how much will GTA 5 be for the pre-order? As it says here, there's a discount. A whopping 50% off for the next gen. You want to know how much the game's full price would be? 40 bones. $40. And a lot of people were thinking, oh, they're gonna charge full price! No. Now it says here $59.95. That's in Australian dollars. And another thing is that yeah, so I was gonna say at the beginning of the stream, I not only got the SSD, I also got a $50 gift card for PSN. Reason being is because tonight I'm going to be pre-ordering GTA 5 digitally. I normally get games physically if available, but I have a good reason. While I am normally a patient person, I prefer to get the game whenever it comes out rather than waiting a month later and losing out on, the good things it may have. Or the issues it may have. Either way, though, I want to be ready for the new version of the game. So, yeah, I'm going to be pre-ordering it tonight, getting it preloaded, all that stuff. And from what I've heard, as it turns out, wait. Please note, I can no longer access that email. It's just the email I used for Dragostar. Yeah, so right now, this game for the PS4 version is $30. I bet you top dollar that it'll go down to $20 whenever the new version is out. Mind you, that's not a bad thing, because GTA 5 is a fantastic game. You know. And by the way, this game was recently confirmed to be delayed. Like, they confirmed it today. Next level edition. Yeah, there's no pre-orders right now for GTA 5 yet. But I was gonna say a little while ago, pre-orders for GTA 5 have been coming up at midnight in people's respective time zones around the globe. Because of that, by the time it's midnight for me, I'll be able to pre-order it. So, this stream may go on for a while, you know, me talking about stuff. First I'm talking about GTA 5 and then other such things. Yes, including PlayStation Home, because I love talking about it and I have reason to believe that it is coming back. A lot of people have reason to believe it's coming back. There's a lot of evidence and a lot of potential behind it coming back on PS5. A lot of people have said, oh, well, what if it comes out on PSVR? Here's the thing. As cool as that would be, don't get me wrong, PlayStation Home on PSVR 2 would be pretty cool. The problem with that is that someone using the VR feature could easily take advantage of that and, you know, proceed to do obscene gestures towards people who may have female avatars. Not only that, but it would make people feel left out if it was like, oh, either VR only or VR compatible. So I don't see that happening. I will say though, Home itself on PS5 has huge potential. Let me explain. Near instantaneous load times would make it to where if someone wanted to go to a new location in PlayStation Home, they could do that without issue. And with the new technology that we have nowadays, such as being able to stream data from something to someone's console, not to be confused with cloud streaming, it would allow someone to not have to worry about downloading a new place and then bogging down their system's storage space, thereby, you know, prohibiting them from maybe downloading another game they want to get. So, yeah, there's that. Of course, they could still have downloads, but it could be super, super minimal. Maybe. And another thing about the huge potential is just both returning, like me, and new players who may have gotten a PS5 recently, which, mind you, getting a PS5 is pretty hard, but if you do manage to get one, because, granted, Sony is still able to make them, but the equipment required to make them is fairly limited, so they have to do it, like, in small batches, so that way they could wait for whatever things they need next. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so Alright, I forgot. So, Ghost of Tsushima Legends is out now for Plus members, which is cool. Anyway, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is PlayStation Home itself. Because again, I have a lot of reason to believe that it could be coming back. You're probably wondering, what makes you say that? Right, so here's the thing. If we are getting a event this month, I feel like this coming Thursday would be a good time. And I feel like tomorrow, if this is true, if we are getting a showcase, they'll announce it tomorrow, and Rockstar, of course, is going to announce, hey, pre-orders are live, have fun. Gonna wait till next Tuesday. Yep. Actually, I need to see the weather for next week. Oh, no one heard that. Right, so... Ooh, Tuesday is gonna be nice weather next week. The reason why I'm bringing up the weather is because, so we have some interesting weather coming up. And by interesting, I mean, well, warning, you're about to see Microsoft Edge. Oh. What? Right. So, this is the weather we're going to be getting coming up. Right? And here's what I was planning on doing in case we have a PlayStation event. So, I already went walking today, and typically what I do nowadays is I go walking every other day. If we have a PlayStation event, what I'm planning on doing is I'm gonna skip tomorrow, of course, because I already went walking today. I mean, how else was I gonna get an SSD? Huh? But I am gonna go walking Wednesday. And if I remember, I'm gonna grab myself a bottle of sparkling grape juice, you know, should that event actually be confirmed and announced. And so Thursday we'll have our thing. However, I should mention that unlike the last time I tried to do live coverage of a PlayStation event, I won't be getting Martinelli. I'm going to get Welch's. Because whenever I got Martinelli for the PlayStation Showcase last September, I didn't even shake it up at all, by the way. Luckily, I was able to clean it up, which is good. But then I thought, you know what, this stuff tastes... Welch's, however, they don't have the same kind of bottle cap where you just pop it off. You screw it off. Like, there's a little red tab thing that you pull and twirl it around, and allows it to let you unscrew the cap instead of having to use a bottle cap. Open that too. And then put back on the lid. Simple as that. Now, whatever time they're going to be doing this showcase, I will be sure, double sure, to get ready by around the time that they actually do it. Hopefully, I won't be impeded by stuff whenever they actually do the event. But, yeah. Anyway, so I have a personal theory about what this supposed event could be. And this is going to be something that you're probably going to be thinking, what makes you say that? So, there have been rumblings over the past couple of months about a returning showcase from a couple of years ago. The PlayStation Experience. It has been long rumored, ever since Sony renewed their trademarks and filed them and all that stuff, that it could be returning. Then I heard a couple of months ago from people like Roberto Serrano that sometime this month we could be having that event. I have reason to believe that if we are getting an event this week in the form of a showcase, PlayStation Experience could be that event. And from what I've heard, there's going to be a lot more focus on stuff from Sony. I don't know what that is, and I'm not an insider, I'm not a leaker, I'm just someone who hears stuff and then says it. But perhaps here we could get some major surprises. Only one way to find out, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check real quick. And that's not ready yet. If you're wondering what I was just doing, I was checking just now to see if GTA 5's next-gen version was available to pre-order, which it's not right now, but it is what it is. But anyway, so, as I was saying, I have reason to suspect that this event, this showcase, if you will, is actually PlayStation experience. And here's another reasoning as to why I don't think it's going to be a state of play. If it is a state of play, I'm not going to be upset. I'll just accept it. I'm not going to be upset. But I had my own reasoning as to why I don't think it's going to be a state of play. And the reason being is because we already had a state of play last month. More specifically, a little over a month ago with Gran Turismo 7. The thing is, Sony usually doesn't do state of plays like so soon after each other. Alright? Now, I'm not saying it's not going to be a state of play, but I'm also not saying that it will be. The only way to know is to wait for it. Wait, what? Yeah, so again, I don't know. Because again, like, we just had a state of play, but the other thing to keep in mind is that state of plays are usually a few months between each other. So Sony doesn't usually do state of plays like every single month. So what could be happening is an actual event. And usually when Sony does these big events, they're usually earlier in the month. So I have heard that people have said, oh, well, maybe Sony might be delaying it to next week or something like that because of things going on. I mean, they have done that before with the Future of Gaming showcase in 2020 due to the tragic death of George Floyd, but at the same time, I just don't see them delaying it. Like, if they do, then it's for good reason, because, you know, like, with things going on in Ukraine, yeah. But anyway, so, yeah. Anyway. Actually, hold on. So, people were theorizing that PlayStation Experience would have been coming back last year. I have reason to believe that it may be coming up way sooner than we think. And let me explain. So if we go here, wait, what? Oh. Never mind. Yeah, so what I think is that Sony could be doing that very soon. How soon? I don't know. Again, I'm not an insider, I'm not an analyst, I'm not anything like that. I'm just a guy who likes to theorize. But, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah. Anyway, so there are a few things I would like to bring up about these trademarks. So, for the PlayStation Experience thing, PlayStation Experience, for those who don't know, was an event that Sony held from. Hold on. Yeah, so they happened for a few years and then they ended in 2017. And essentially, what it was is it's Sony's spin on E3. But they could do it anytime they wanted to, so it didn't have to be specifically rooted to summer. But here's the thing. Considering the fact that the trademark popped up last year, it's possible that Sony has been planning and setting up for this event for multiple months in advance, getting everything all ready. So, it could be bringing it back soon. Another thing to keep in mind, PlayStation Home also had its trademarks renewed and everything. And considering the fact that Sony has recently said that they want to have more live service games. For those who don't know what a live service game is, it is essentially an online game developed to entice players to keep playing and keep them reeled into stuff. Also, my ears ringing. Okay. Anyway, so yeah. Because here's the thing. All those rumors about a PlayStation event, like a PlayStation experience happening throughout last year whenever the trademark was discovered to have been filed again, didn't happen. But if there's a good time to have a PlayStation experience event, it would be basically right now, like soon. Alright, now PlayStation Home, that would tie into this. You want to know how? So, I want you to think about the timing of PlayStation experience. So, because of Sony's track record of when they announce events, which is almost always 2 days prior to that event, they'll announce it tomorrow most likely, if there is an event. You know, having a little sizzle reel of what you can expect. And then showing the logo and everything, giving you the date, the time, the everything you need to know, of course with the blog post. But my reasoning for PlayStation Home being part of this. For one, it could be a surprise release where during the showcase they talk about PlayStation Home, what all it meant to people, and then they could say, well, guess what? We're bringing it back. And here's the best part. You can play it right now. Which would be awesome. Seriously. As someone who loved playing PlayStation Home, I would love to see it again. Especially on a console that could do it all. Because I'd like to think of it like this. Since Home was a beta on PS3, it was more like a proof of concept of what could be possible, but it was still hampered severely by the hardware at the time. PS5 can rectify everything from that. Alright? I'm talking about the load times, the need to download spaces whenever you go there. And I'm talking about, like, for the first time. However, if you go back to a space you've already been to, you don't have to download it, it's already downloaded. And this is something I'd like to bring up on the subject of returning players, because GTA 5, speaking of which, and GTA Online are going to be doing their own returning player benefits, which is awesome. But here's the thing. So, I no longer watch this person's content, but whenever I did, I came across an old video of theirs. The person's name is JTech. The reason why I stopped watching them and following them is because of the fact that I was getting really sick and tired of him being like, Sony is infinitely better than Xbox. For me, enjoy what platform you want, alright? If you like PC, if you like PlayStation, can't really tell right now, but I'm pointing at my Xbox Series, no, not, Xbox One S, not Series S. Although I have been thinking about getting a Series S. Yeah, so whatever platform you play on, I say enjoy it, alright? Don't worry about what other people say. Don't listen to people saying, "Oh, you you shouldn't be playing on this platform. It sucks." Listen, as someone growing up who mostly grew up with Nintendo but gradually gravitated towards Sony, I'm someone who likes everything, alright? I don't have a personal preference, although I do gravitate towards Sony. I like playing on computers. I like playing on Nintendo. I like playing on Xbox every once in a while whenever I got the opportunity. But not once did I ever. One, I wasn't picky. And I'm still not picky in the slightest. But another thing I'm trying to say is that don't listen to what people tell you about your favorite platform, alright? If you like Nintendo, play Nintendo. If you like PlayStation like me, play on PlayStation. Play on Xbox, play on PC. Whatever floats your boat. Don't listen to the people trying to hate on your platform just because they like their own over yours, alright? Besides, I thought we all left console wars back in the 90s with Sega and Nintendo. I say that despite the fact that I was born in 1997, of which the console wars was against 3 consoles. Yeah. Anyway, so all I'm saying is that whatever you like playing on, play on it. Anyway, so going back to the subject of JTech TV, there was a video that he had posted one day, and I think this was back in 2013, I don't remember, but, he made a video about him theorizing that PlayStation Home could be making its way to PS4, which unfortunately it didn't, but I'll explain my reasoning as to why I know that's not the case. But at the very beginning of the video, it showed a notification saying that his data for his PlayStation Home stuff is being saved to PlayStation servers. The reason why I bring that up is because returning player stuff, like, okay, so for example, GTA 5, when it came over to next-gen consoles at the time, PS4, Xbox One, it would allow people to migrate their progress over from story mode and online onto PS4 and Xbox One. Because that same data was stored onto those servers, and it would allow people to easily access that stuff. Home could be much the same, where if you were someone who played Home on PS3, and they brought back the servers and updated and all that stuff, and you go on to PlayStation Home again, you could get that stuff back. No issues. And the reason why I bring that up is because if they announce PlayStation Home during this event, which I'm not saying they will, I just have a hunch. I'm the hunchback of thinking. By the way, if you actually do have a hunchback, I'm very sorry. If I offended you by accident, I'm sorry. I try not to offend people. It's just, I was making a joke about having a hunch about something, but I do know that there are people out there with legitimate deformities, so I wasn't poking jokes about them. I was making reference to the Hunchback of Notre Dame. But if you do legitimately have a disability like that, then I truly am sorry, and I hope that my joke there was not offensive in any way, and if it was, then again, I deeply apologize. But anyway, getting back to the subject, during this PlayStation event, which I know is coming up, I haven't been told when, but I have some good ideas. But during this event, if they like their own things, which is nice, it'd be kind of cool if they announced PlayStation Home is coming back, and then as a big surprise, for those of you who have a PS5, we've got great news. You can download and play PlayStation Home right now, free. No microtransactions. I mean, they might bring back microtransactions, because I know in the original version of Home, you could buy items with legitimate money. But I would much rather prefer them having a virtual currency. I'm not saying I would hate having to use real money for PlayStation Home. Partially because of the fact that nowadays, anytime I want to, I could just go to a store and buy a gift card for PSN and then inject that shit in my PlayStation account. But what I am saying is that whenever I was a lot younger, I didn't have a chance to do that as often, so I wasn't really able to buy too many things. Of course, nowadays that's completely different because I'm my own person. I can do whatever I want. I stay as I live with my grandparents because I help out around the house and stuff, so yeah. But all I'm saying is I'm not opposed to microtransactions in the form of using your real money to buy clothing, stuff for your avatar in PlayStation Home, but in replacement for that. It's not a requirement, it's just something that would be kind of cool, but they don't have to do it. Yeah. Another thing I know they're probably going to be doing at this PlayStation experience is they're probably going to be showing off a PS4 to PS5 graphics comparison. And I'll explain my reasoning. So, okay. So, here's the thing. They could do this very same thing at this upcoming event. Because the thing is, Rockstar could also do this themselves, but seeing as how Rockstar has a track record with, partnering up with Sony nowadays, they're basically brothers in arms. If we are getting an event this week, and not just a regular old state of play, because we literally just had one a little over a month ago, I have reason to believe that more than likely GTA 5 is going to be there. And we could probably see like a teaser as to what's next for GTA Online. Hi Franklin, your DLC is awesome. So, yeah. Honestly, I have no doubt in my mind that we might be seeing that. Only it's PS4 to PS5. And for Xbox, it's... What? Well, that's disturbing. Anyway, so... all I'm saying is that we've got a big storm coming. A very big storm. And I don't know what's going to be happening. But I can tell you this. If there is an event this week, and it does happen to be that PlayStation Showcase, or maybe even that PlayStation Experience I mentioned. Because that's my personal theory. And I could be right, I could be wrong, but I assure you this. Whatever happens, better be ready, but temper your expectations. Because whatever is happening, it's going to be amazing. And I have no doubt in my mind that Sony is going to be delivering big things at this event. I mean, after all, there have been those business insiders and stuff saying, yeah, this is going to be the big good event, saying that we are having an event this month. They haven't said when, but I have reason to believe it may be this week. Because Sony, again, they usually have their state of plays at the beginning of the month. Or, their events at the beginning of the month. They can have it later. They're more than free at their own liberty to have an event at their own accord, so it could be at any time. Hell, they could do it like right now and I wouldn't even care. But given their track record, they usually do it earlier in the month, so this seems likely. But these also seem likely, so it is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna check on the thing again. Not yet. I'll tell you what, though. Even whenever I have the game preloaded on my PS5, I'm not going to uninstall GTA 5 for PS4 until the game comes out. The reason being is because of the fact that I'm also thinking of keeping it on my PS5 as well, because I have friends who are stuck on PS4, haven't been able to get a PS5 yet. And of course I do have friends that have a PS5 and play GTA 5 on there. The regular edition, not PS5 yet. It's a fun experience not having to deal with frame drops every 2 seconds, like, oh, whoa, buckaroo, you're going 2 miles too fast. You're gonna be like, Instead, it's gonna be a smooth, certainly a lot better than being in 15 FPS on a Dinosaur 4. Yeah, I know, weird name to call PS4, but let me explain. Ever since I got the PS5, I stopped using the PS4. I'm not gonna sell it, but the PS4 just feels ancient, Granted, I'm not saying the console is bad by any stretch. It's a good console. It's just, whenever I got the PS5, I immediately moved on, because, who wouldn't? It's a new console. It's something that's way better than its predecessor. Again, that's not to say the PS4 is terrible. It's not. It's far from bad. But when you have a console that can do everything that you've wanted a console to do and more, you gotta stick with it, man. But anyway, so, yeah. Ooh. Wow. Having a future game show from Games Radar. Yeah. 24th of March, man. And apparently we might be seeing our first gameplay snippet from Sonic Frontiers. Which is awesome. Because I've been excited for that game ever since they first unveiled it in December at the Game Awards. Which, by the way, I know this is far in advance, but I will be doing coverage of that like I did last year. Hopefully without any copyright claims, which were later resolved because, you know, Matrix. Matrix. But, oh, wait. Oh. Never mind. But, see, this is another reason why I think Sony would be doing an event this week, is so that way they don't get, like, drowned out from this. So that way their thing is out of the way, and then they can do theirs without Sony being caught in the middle of it. So they do it early. Maybe. Anyway, yeah, so. Hi. Oh, almost time. Got an hour and roughly 14 minutes. I say roughly because, well, yeah. Right. So something I forgot to mention about PlayStation Home on PS5 is that, there's a project that people developed called Destination Home. It is an unofficial revival of PlayStation Home services where you could hang out with friends, play games, and stuff like that. The thing is, if it were Nintendo would be taking them down. But this is Sony we're talking about. PlayStation Home was their thing. They haven't done anything about this. You want to know why? Because Sony believes in preservation. Kind of. I mean, they did shut down the PS Store on PS Vita, but, I mean, oh well. PS3 and Vita, those are still up and around. But they haven't gone after people looking to preserve, game servers and stuff on PS3 because they do believe in preservation of games, which is good. Reason why I bring this up is because I have reason to believe that could be seeing this again. Maybe. Also, Game Rant, Medium Molecule wouldn't be bringing it back. However, I want to bring up something real quick. So, as of right now, it is currently March 7th. March 31st this year will be 7 whole years since PlayStation Home closed down. Because it closed down the very end of March of 2015. So as of this year, it'll be 7 whole years. So, yeah. Pretty sad day, but here's the thing to keep in mind. Home was a beta, and the thing about betas is that betas can take as long as they need to be developed. Which also means that the developers have their own free will to, close down the servers if they need to work on it some more. The reason why I bring this up is because of London Studio and SIE Europe. Now, bear in mind, those are not the same. Those are not the same entities. They are completely different, but they are in the same headquarters. I don't know why I keep closing this. But this is what I mean. So yeah. So basically, with the new version of PlayStation Home, instead of having to download new spaces, what could happen is the PS5 has what is called an integrated I/O, meaning in and out, meaning that developers at any time could input data and then output data, so they could change it at any time. And Not there yet. Got about an hour left. Of course, people on the East Coast, they can pre-order now. I still gotta wait nearly an hour. Ugh. Anyway, yeah. My back hurts. Ow. Morning Sun. I'm not really sure what I want to talk about now. Oh well. I guess that would be a good stopping point, because actually, you know what? No, I think I'm gonna play some games to pass the time. But so to summarize what I was talking about a while ago during the stream, I was talking about my own analysis on the newswire from Rockstar from last week, and what I think is happening and all this other stuff, you know. Anyway, yeah, so. Taxi boss? Oh my god. You know what this means, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. I can't sing. Well, I played this game. Super Speed Tycoon. Well, why is there a tycoon of that? And oh, I played this one. Wait, can I play this? Because I tried playing this a few hours ago, and
you got a boost tower.
oh well. Block Tycoon. Well, okay then. I guess I could try this one out. think I'll probably just end the stream here. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, then like, comment, maybe subscribe. You don't have to. Anyway, good night.